If a gangster decides to wake up one morning and be a cop and apply the same rules he learned in the street, in the office of being a cop, this will be him. He really thinks because he's wearing the badge, they give him a license to do whatever he wants in the streets. Like, look at the car he driving in, bro. This is not a narcotics cop. This is a gangster with a badge. And the dude who he was training, he really thought he was working with a narcotics cop. Bro, this is a straight up gangster. The worst kind of people who he can be in the car with is him. He one of the worst kind of people. And he don't know that though, but check it out. He would know if he would never ignored the metaphors that he was hearing from his friends. Like the story about the snail that he was telling. See, he was too messed up to understand what he was saying about the story about the snail. He was describing him. So he telling the story about the snail. A snail was on a guy's porch. The guy opened the door on his way to work. He saw the snail. He threw the snail in the backyard and it ended up busting up his shell. A year later, the snail got back up together and crawled right back to the porch. And so he says to the snail, when he saw the snail again, these words.
The fuck's your problem?
That's what he said to the snail that crawled back up on his porch. He's laughing at it like it's a joke. Obviously, it's not a joke. He's the only one laughing. He's not laughing because he knows the joke is about him. And he looking at him like, damn, he didn't catch on what I said.
It's not funny. What you laughing for and everything?
He like, bro, I'm trying to tell you, the man that you with is dirty. Look how he turned his head straight at him and looked at him, bro. He looking at him like, dang, you done messed this dude head up with all them drugs and stuff, so he wouldn't get the metaphor that I was trying to tell him about you. Yeah, he meant to do that. That's why he over there laughing.
You figure that joke out, you figure the streets out.
You figure that joke out, you figure the streets out. Meaning that you figure that metaphor out, you will figure him out. And then he winked at him, bro. See, the thing about the story of the snail, when he opened the door, he picked up the snail and threw it over the roof in the backyard so it can land on a rock and bust up his shell and be suffering. Instead of just putting it in the grass, he could have tossed it in the grass. He could have put salt on it and put it out of his misery or something. You know, it's plenty of ways he could have handled it. But instead, he picked it up and threw it over the roof, which represents that he wanted the snail to suffer. And that represents him. That represents his character. He wants people to suffer. He will use you all the way up until you can't be used no more. See, that snail scene was a metaphor for what was going to happen to him later on. You see, in this scene, he got beat up. And you know what I'm saying? He was all battered and bruised up and all that, right? Even though he was beat up and battered and bruised, he got right back up on his feet and picked up where he left off. That's exactly what happened to the snail in the story that he was telling. When he threw the snail over the roof, it busted up his shell and everything. It took a year to get back on his feet, but he came back. So he basically was prophesying. Now, this is another story that had a metaphor in it later on in the movie. Now, this time, the rookie was trying to listen on to what they were saying. He's sitting there listening to them talk, but this time, he's a little sober. So he listening to them, but he's still not hearing what they saying. But instead of understanding the joke, he's laughing at it. The metaphor in this joke is very clear. He's gonna die. Who's gonna die? Him. Who is him? Alonzo, the dirty narcotics cop. See, if he was really listening, he would have heard the man say this.
I don't talk to dead men. I ain't dead yet.
He said he don't talk to dead men, meaning that he's gonna die. Now see, if he would have heard him call him a dead man, then he would question why he called him a dead man. But he didn't hear it. So this is how the story go. There was a man that was a serial burglar that they caught. He had to stand before the judge. Before he went to the judge, he put peanut butter down his pants. And when he got to stand in front of the judge, he put his hands in his pocket, came back out with him, and then he started licking his fingers like he was licking doo-doo. The judge thought it was doo-doo, but it wasn't doo-doo, it was peanut butter. By the time the judge seen that it was peanut butter, she already sent the order for him to go to the psych ward. So he was gonna end up not going to prison. So the joke was, a man faked like he was crazy so he won't go to prison. Just like him, he killed a Russian and he didn't go to prison, but he will have to pay the price. And what is the price? Death. That's why he said the guy would never ever do a day in prison, meaning that he won't do a day in prison because they're gonna kill him. And that's exactly what happened at the end. And this was another metaphor story. And this story that he's telling, he actually used it to kill his friend. And vice versa, it was used on him. In this story, he talking about how he had pulled somebody over. And he say he found a snub 38 and 2 shotguns. He also said that he was on his way to smoke his ex-partner with those guns he found. Just like the story he was saying, how he pulled somebody over and he found a shotgun that was fully loaded, and he was on his way to kill his ex-partner. In the same way, Alonzo has a shotgun, and what does he do? He kills his ex-partner. Just like they was partners in the beginning, now they not partners. Now he's going after his ex-partner. See, this was all a setup. He was the perfect rookie that he needed, because he knew he'll fall for anything and everything. And who you think set him up? The woman. She had all this planned. Even when he woke up, she was woke before him. She's not even in the bed. He's looking for her, like where she's at. When he turned around, he saw her and he was like, "What are you doing?" As if this is not what she normally does. Now you're probably saying, "Oh, she's just feeding the baby, duh," but it looks weird when he turns around and says, "What are you doing?" when he already see what she's doing, as if he's not used to what she's doing right now around this time. Then he turned around in the bed and looked like, where she at? If he knew that she was feeding the baby, he wouldn't be tripping, right? Yeah, something ain't right. And then look how she rushed to the phone and pick it up, and look how she's blushing, bro. Look at her, and look how he look at her. Bro, he looking at her like, who the hell are you talking to that's making you blush like that?
Oi.
Yes, sir.
Roll ferries go to roll. We don't go to roll.
As you can see, he's talking to the same dirty cop he was dealing with later on in the movie. And look in the background, how she's just staring at him on the phone. This is a whole setup, bro. Not to mention the woman that he was with in this movie is Cuban. And the woman who was blushing on the phone with him is Puerto Rican. Is it a coincidence that the lady who he was with in this movie is Cuban, which is Latin, and the other lady who was blushing on the phone with him was Puerto Rican, which also is Latin, which means that he likes Latin women, which means that she was used to set him up so he can become the fall guy. Now you probably asking yourself, what's she gonna get out of it? Well, at the end of the movie, you won't see her. At the end of the movie, he gets out the car and walks in the house, and the movie goes off. She's not in there. She in Hawaii somewhere, bro. She's gone. And don't forget about that reference he made to his wife either.
You let me know. I hook your old lady up, you know. I can't miss. Killing her is how I say